Hey everybody, and welcome back to more CCLP3. We're on a very special level. Level 61, Bump and Run, is a level I kind of have a lot of memories of, because it was the first level that was in Tom Rao's level set. And like I said earlier, we were all crazy about optimizing it on PyGuy's site, back when PyGuy's site was just still starting to offer level sets for optimization. And PyGuy himself actually optimized this level and reported a score of 317. And then when CCLP3 came out, he reported it again. And then out of nowhere, Mika Tokula, another optimizer, reported a score of 318. And we were like, oh, it's possible to beat PyGuy! It's actually doable! So we were all excited. And the quest to find 318, for those of us familiar, fun. So I gotta explain something. The little trick I did back here where I used the bug to destroy that bomb is actually a little Easter egg, because at least I think it's intended as far as like an alternate solution, because normally what you do is you use the block that was there to destroy it, but ultimately you can actually use that block for a bridge building sequence at the end. Now you'll notice that there is a yellow key over here and a red key over this way somewhere. And up at the top are a couple of blocks, each of which is guarded by one of those keys. The red one first and then yellow. Well, since we've got that extra block from that bomb area, we can just bypass it and not worry about bringing it down at all. So it turns out the trick to getting 318 actually had to do with this area up over here. You can bounce this block, or flick it, or whatever you want to call it, off of one of the ice corners, which I didn't realize you could do that when they move. Like, that's actually really fascinating. So, yeah. Way to go on MSCC mechanics. So, I don't think I actually need those fire boots, but I'm going to grab them anyway. And I'm going to bring this down over here. And now we can just bridge the exit. And that's pretty much it. It's a really fun level, I think. If you do it the quote-unquote, can be very tricky, particularly without the suction boots and all the sidestepping you have to do on the force floors, but it's not too bad, thankfully. Anyway, on to go back to start. So this level is another interesting pre-CCLP3 optimization story. So this level was created by Mike Lask as part of his Mike L2 level set. And the intended solution is to get all the chips and then come back through the socket and then go back to start, go back to the exit. Well, as it turns out, you can actually completely bypass all the chips in this level. You can just build a bridge down over this way to the area that you'd be coming back through. And you can use this as your path back. So you'll notice there's a tank there. You don't even have to worry about pushing the tank button either, because you can just make that long bridge. So I'm not even going to worry about any of the chips. So like right over here, there's this area with that blue door and the lock block formation there with the 3 blocks in that cluster. Don't even need to worry about that. Normally you'd worry about getting all the fireballs into those bombs. We're not even going to do that here. We can just completely skip that. But we do need some boots, so we're going to go through this yellow door and get those skates. And to do that, we're going to need to uncage this teeth from its toggle prison. So, I'm not going to lie. You know, as strict as I've been when it comes to busts and CCLPs when producing them and stuff, I don't think it's a bad idea to have some clever busts, for lack of a better way of putting it, in some levels. And I'd say that this bust, you know, Wormwood, you know, levels like that qualify as clever busts. So that clones a block onto a trap button, which then releases that fireball and enables us to get the suction shoes for the end. And then down over here, we can use a block in this room, the one right there, to bridge back to this recessed wall area. Normally you'd use that paramecium cloner to then get to the suction, or the tank buttons for the tank over here, but we don't even need to worry about that. So now we're back here. We didn't use the sockets. I almost tried to open it and then died. Phew, thankfully that did not happen. Anyway, moving on to Pocket Puzzle. I really, really love this level a lot. It was made by Alice Voith, who, I'm not gonna lie, she's one of my favorite level designers. Like, I've got a level design crush on her. I can't believe I said that. But anyway, she is a really talented level designer. And she only submitted like 7 levels for CCLP3, and 4 of them got in. I mean, that's a pretty good rate for getting levels into an official set. And a lot of them were based on like games or like game concepts. This was one of them. In fact, I want to say most of them were actually based on games. There was the Clue level, and then there was, oops, I forgot to get those chips. That could be bad. Yeah. Can you guys just like, one of you get down here? Okay, I'm going to lead you in here for now. And I know you're going to get out when I get this. Okay, this is a completely non-optimal... Yeah, that was not the best way to do that. Anyway, this particular one, this was her very first level in her set. And it was essentially based on that whole, you know, that those kinds of games that you buy in like dollar stores and stuff where you have to like guide a bunch of little tiny metal marbles through a maze to get to the center. Yeah, it's basically that concept, except made with teeth in a Chips Challenge level. Well, teeth and a few other monsters. So I'm actually going to leave you guys there while I get these chips, because honestly, if we didn't worry about those chips, we'd be okay. Okay, so go over here. Oh. No. Okay, we need to redo this part. Okay, so you go down there. Okay, one of you needs to come up here. Okay, you both stay there, and then there you are. So all we need to do now is just get this block through this to finish off that trap area. And now we have a glider hitting all of the trap buttons. So that's fun. And up to in this room, you can either clone a glider that goes all the way down here to hit that trap button, or you could use that block. So I elected to use the block. Then we just have a little teeth guiding puzzle. I'll go around just to be on the safe side. Alright, and then it's just a simple matter of trapping the bugs in that room with the button in it. So yeah, that's pretty much Pocket Puzzle. It's a really, really fun level. Okie doke. On to producing, and this level has a story element attached to it. Chip strolled into the next level, where he could hear the familiar sound of clone machines spawning monsters. Suddenly, an alarm pierced their quiet whirring and buzzing. "Genetic experiment overload," a computerized voice announced. "Vacate premises immediately. Self-destruct mechanism to activate in T-12 minutes and counting." Chip searched frantically for some way to stop the clone machines, but it was fruitless. The machines continued to produce more monsters beyond their normal capacity. Mustering all his resolve, Chip began dashing through the maze, searching for a way to the exit. Well, despite what the story says, this level doesn't really involve out-of-control clone machines as far as the gameplay goes. Like, everything here is pretty much predictable. But yes, this is a level that's all about cloning, and it's a really fun one. It was designed by a designer named Andrew Rakowski, otherwise known as Andrew R. to a lot of the community. And he submitted a level set with 30 levels, I believe. This was the only one that made it through into CCLP3. It was not a Mercy inclusion. This level did very well in voting. And it's definitely the best of his set. He's since added and changed up some of his levels since this was released, and I sure hope he gets some in CCLP4 because, whoops, hang on. There you go, odd number of times. Because there are some in there that would be really cool to see. And so I need to be careful crossing that. There's definitely one in particular that I'm thinking of that would be really awesome, so I hope the community likes it. It's called Tempting, and it's a really neat little puzzle. I'm really hoping it gets in the set, because I think it would be great. So you'll notice over here that this fireball path over here can now split into this direction. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of fun there with the... Yeah, now there's going to be a whole bunch. But now they're going to hit that green button, and we should get a whole big... Come on. There we go. More frequent button pressing. And then we get a chase sequence here through the outer edge of the level, which some people may think this is kind of a little useless, but I like this. I seriously think, you know, in moderation, these kinds of long hallways and stuff could be used really well, and I think this is one good use of them. This is definitely a level that, when I first saw it, I was kind of a little meh on it, but since it's really grown on me. So I've really enjoyed it since I've played it a few times, and especially since optimizing it. Like, this is one of those levels that it was really difficult to optimize. Pie Guy set a record on this level that was crazy. Yeah. It took a while to find, but it was fun. Let's see here. Come on. Come on. There we go. So this favorite part of the level, and not just because of optimization, but just because it kind of deviates from the whole... I guess it doesn't deviate from the whole cloning thing, because there are other areas where monsters are just going around, like this one. But it is a little bit nerve-wracking that far into the level. Other than that, thankfully it is short, but the rest of the level is just top-notch. I love hearing just a chip make that sound. That Okay, so we can go down here where the teeth was, and then we still got some work to do over here with the chips. So let's get those, and we should be okay for exits. And that's pretty much producing. Really fun level. And there we go. Moving onward to Countdown. Here's another story element. Chip had escaped the clone machine madness, but the self-destruct countdown continued to tick away. Self-destruct mechanism to activate and T-4 minutes and counting, the computerized voice declared. Looking down the corridor, Chip saw a sign reading Control Room. I must save the clubhouse, Chip said to himself. But as he raced toward the door, he realized that the Bitbusters had probably installed half a dozen layers of security around it. Chip thought. I wonder what kind of security checks they put in there. Combination locks? Passwords? He was about to find out. Well, these security locks are Sokobans. And to be honest, they're not really that hard. They're just kind of a little bit tough to do under a tight time limit. But if you're pretty smart about these and keep your wits about you, they're generally not that bad. Like this one, you can just move around those and then get that. So this is another interesting optimization story. The original long-standing bold for this level was 67. I think it was Andrew Bennett who set that as a record. And then later on, who was it? I think it was... Yeah, it was me. I got to like 69 or so. And this particular one always stumps me. Oh wait, I know how to do this. This isn't too bad. Yeah, it was 69, or I think at first I got 68, then 69, and then 71. And then Jeffrey Barden and Shane Kleiman-Haga, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name, worked together and just compared notes and managed to find another second and got 72, which was really cool. So way to go on that, guys. I don't know if I've properly congratulated them ever, but that's a tough second to find, and it's really worth it, though. So these Sokobans aren't exactly really difficult. They're just kind of tough under a really tight time limit if you're not very seasoned with Sokobans. So that should be everything, though. So at this point... Oh, I forgot about that. I was going to say, at this point, we should be able to do that, but unfortunately, that didn't quite work. So let's try this again. This time, hopefully, a little faster. There's a bunch of little tricks you can do in this level to make things a little bit faster as far as boosting through force floors and doing partial post with some of the traps, and that was certainly not one of those things right there. Because I was talking. I'm still trying to work on the whole talk while you play and still concentrate thing. It's not really my strong suit, if you couldn't tell by now. Some people are really good at that, but I'm still working on it. Alright, this time we can get this. So yeah, this level's by Tom Rao. It's a really fun one. I haven't really gone back to his level set and tried playing this since setting the new records here and confirming Jeffrey's and Shane's record. I don't know if there's any more possible in that iteration of it, since there are some elements to it that are MS only, and they were changed for the release of CCLP3 to be Lynx compatible. So I can't really remember. Alright, so I think it's the one on the edge there we'll take back to run through the bomb there and all that. Shouldn't be too bad. We get some nifty suction boots. I'm trying to remember what those are good for, though. Oh, right. This... Wait, no, we go up here, right? I'm just going to go the normal way, just to be safe. Alright, so just go through here, and we should be good to go. Alright, and now moving on to the aftermath. Chip had made it to the master control panel. Rolling up his sleeves and bringing all his experience into play, Chip hacked his way past every authorization prompt in the system, trying hard not to get distracted by the constant flashing of the sign, asking him to download the latest update for Flash Player. Within seconds, he had reached the final screen, which presented him with a neatly lined list of checkboxes, along with the prompt, "Select rooms to deactivate." Chip searched desperately for a Select All checkbox, but horror of horrors, there was none! "Arg!" Chip exclaimed, hitting downspace, downspace, downspace as he selected the checkboxes one by one. But just as he clicked the OK button, he realized that he had missed out the very first checkbox, the one for the room that he was in. "Whoops!" Chip yelped as he ran into the neighboring room, hoping to find a way out. The lights had gone off, and in the fading twilight, Chip could barely make out 3 doors in front of him. The door on the left said "Authorized personnel only" and was evidently locked. The one on the right didn't look like it led outside. In the middle stood a solid-looking lead-lined door. Instinctively, Chip flung open the middle door and hurled himself through the doorway, all in a single action. The very next moment, there was a terrific crash and the sound of metal flying all over the place as Chip knocked down a stack of soft drink cans in the refrigerator that he had almost jumped into. But what was even more astonishing was that there was already a man hiding inside. "Find your old hiding place, son," the man growled. "This refrigerator ain't big enough for the 2 of us." "I'm sorry, Doctor," Chip apologized. "Will you be in there for long? It's an emergency." "For 19 years they kept me in cold storage," the man grumbled. "And then they make me hide in a refrigerator." "Wow," Chip... Excuse me. "Wow," Chip exclaimed. "And some people thought that I was out in the cold for a long time." "If I may interrupt you too, gentlemen," the computerized voice broke in. "Now, what was it that I wanted to say? My random access memory fails me. Oh yes, self-destruct mechanism activating in 10, 9... Chip quickly hit the defrost button as he shut the refrigerator door, and then pulled open the door on the right to reveal a small closet containing a jetpack. "Ah, dangerous," he said to himself as he strapped it on, "but at least it's scientifically proven." What happened next happened quickly. Chip was propelled up a chute high into the air at precisely the same moment that the room self-destructed into a roaring mass of flames, and the refrigerator soared away into the distance. A couple of minutes later, the fire started dying out, and Chip descended back to Earth. He now had to find a way out through the rubble and the simmering flames, but he had a feeling it wasn't going to be easy. So that was, I think, by far the longest story sequence that we had for this set. And I gotta admit, the part with the guy in the refrigerator, yes, it was inspired by Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, for anyone who's wondering. And it was actually my idea. make fun of that just because I thought that was one of the silliest parts of that whole movie. And I thought it would be kind of fun to incorporate the indie into a chip game. And we also used it as an opportunity to talk about how long it was between Chip's Challenge sequels. Since CCLP2 and CCLP3 had quite a period of time in between them, and Last Crusade and Crystal Skull had quite a few years in between them as well. So this was a level I made as, I think, one of the, maybe level 28 in my set. It was definitely one of my earlier levels. And it's a pretty fun one, I think. Now, the bad news is I'm not exactly sure, now that I'm looking at this here, what the toggle state needs to be. I think you need to actually go back and change it up before you do anything over here. So let me just see how this works. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start cloning blocks, and ultimately there is a toggle door on the other side of that teleport, but if you close it, then you'll partial post into the yellow key area. So I'm just going to push a block through, and if it is partial posted, at least I'll be safe. That's the general idea. So yeah, I didn't actually make... Okay, good. So you can, at least in MS, you can push stuff over key or green keys. That is a relief. So now I'm going to actually push through here, like that, and now we have a ticket out of here through this door. And I don't believe there's anything else we need to do. Doesn't seem like it, so through. So now we have this invisible wall double maze kind of thing here. I was actually really proud of this when I first made the level, because no one really had a maze like this. So I decided to actually make a complete level out of this idea. I called it Double Double, and it was basically like an all-toggle double maze. And then we suddenly get our boots taken away, which, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't done that. I think that's a little mean. So yeah, the one thing I did like about this level is that for the most part, it's a very original concept for the time. Like back then, these kinds of like destroyed levels and stuff really weren't a thing. Like in the years that followed, more of a thing. But at least back when CCLP3 came out, there really weren't too many of these. So I'm going to push this over here on the button. And I want to say, yeah, there's stuff there. Okay, so I've got 5 blocks. I got 3 of those, so I can partial post. I need to bring them around, right? I can partial post using the last 2 blocks after I'm done with the bombs. Now, there is a blue door that I need to pay attention to. You can get a blue key for, which is this one up here. And if I'm not mistaken, I really need to make sure I come back and press the toggle button again before I go to the exit, because there's 2 more mazes to explore through there. But we do have all the chips, so that is good news. So I'm going to leave that be for now until we're done with this first trip. Alright, so this one just gives you flippers. Okay, so now we have to go back and press it again. And now we can use our flippers to go to the exit. Okay, I was worried that that was going to happen. Thankfully, this level does give you a nice long equalizer here with this glider. You can hide in this little niche here. And that's the level. Alright, so that was the aftermath, but what happened after that? Let's move on to the next portion of the story. It wasn't long after Chip had scooted out the remains of the control room when he heard a familiar voice. "Chip!" cried Melinda. "Chip, are you alright?" With a sigh of relief, Chip brushed off the dirt and dust from his tattered clothes and cheerfully ran toward her. The two embraced and caught up on all of Chip's recent escapades. "You were very brave, Chip," Melinda gushed. "No one else I know could have held the nerve to solve 7 Sokoban puzzles and select 64 checkboxes while staring death in the face." "Wait, what?" Chip responded. "Only 64? You mean there aren't any more levels?" "Oh, not to worry, Chip," Melinda replied. "The Bitbusters had foreseen that the genetic experiments might get out of hand someday, so they started building the rest of the levels elsewhere. But before I tell you more about that, there's something I want to ask you. She smiled shyly, trying to avoid looking Chip directly in the eye. Chip smiled back and directed all of his attention toward her. Chip, do you think it's time we took our friendship to the next level? She asked. I agreed, Chip replied. But just where am I going to find the next level? He demanded, peering over her shoulders to look around the area. Melinda sighed. They're in a clubhouse in Chip City, she told him. Chip City? Chip responded, perplexed. It's going to be a long journey, said Melinda, handing him a map. But you know how I love to find the quickest way possible, replied a gleaming Chip. Well, I have to look after the repairs here, so I won't be able to come with you. Melinda continued as Chip began to crack his knuckles. So let me warn you that the levels in this clubhouse are going to be a bigger challenge than ever. But I'm confident you will do well. With Melinda's encouragement, Chip said goodbye, and soon set off on his journey to Chip City, excited about the challenges that lay ahead. By and by, the night grew dark, and Chip reached a house in the middle of the woods. I think I'll rest here for the night, he decided. Okay, so this portion of the set was a decision that we as the staff had decided to build just because we had a lot of levels that were very location-based, so to speak. So we thought, why don't we have Chip travel somewhere throughout the course of the story? And then we thought, well, in that case, why don't we just make sure we don't have all of the levels in one clubhouse? Why don't we have a second clubhouse instead of just the typical one that we see in the original game in CCLP3? So the idea to do that was born after that, and now I'm just epically failing with these paramecia here. And we were kind of we were really proud of that story bit, especially with Chip just completely being a doofus and not really realizing what the next level meant. So, yeah. We had some fun with this part. But this level, the haunted house, this was an interesting inclusion story in the set as well. This is a level by Ida Robertson, and Ida had quite a few levels in the set. But we had noticed that there was a couple levels that she had that were very similar to each other, I think. I think there was one level she had that was either too hard as far as just in comparison to something similar. Like it was just a case of there being two similar things. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was something like that. And so we thought, why don't we just get another level that you've designed that did really well in voting? And this was so close that we thought, well, we might as well just go ahead and include this level anyway. I mean, it's no harm. And it's a really fun level. And I'm glad we did, just because I don't think there are enough levels like this that are just all about aesthetics, basically. I mean, this level just feels like one of those, fake out Super Mario levels where, you have a bunch of traps and, little areas that are not what they seem and everything. Ghost houses, that's what I'm thinking of, the ghost house levels. So yeah, we thought that this would be a fun addition to the set, and I'm guessing that the ghost house thing was what Ida had in mind, so that's the story behind that. Moving on to Incident on a Bridge. Watch out for trolls, all blue walls are real. Okay, so the story behind this level, this is another interesting one. Essentially, and I didn't mean to do that, Tom Rao designed this back when he first started designing CC levels. And one of the interesting things that came out of this was that there was a level by this title that he built, and it was busted because there was a teeth monster that you could just pretty much directly lead into the exit, the bomb there near the exit. So he decided to make a level in which that wasn't possible. And I'm just trying to gauge what would happen if... Okay, hang on. I'm actually going to do a little bit of extra work compared to what this level's bold route would require. But anyway, the practice back then, because he was basically, when I say acting, he was building levels like a little bit at a time and adding them, that's what I meant to say, adding them to his set on Pie Guy's site. The practice back then was that if you busted a level, of course you couldn't really just replace it on Pie Guy's site after people reported scores on it. So what he did instead was he just built another level and added it to later on in the set. And this level was pretty much the result of that. And it was called Remember the Bridge. But we decided to use the original title, Incident on a Bridge, instead. Tom was also quite famous for using Kansas song titles in his level set. And I don't know if this was one of those or not. I think we had to do that. There we go. So I'm going to use a glider. It's going to come down there, and I'm going to push it through to that room that way. Hopefully that will work. Alright, so if it comes out of that room, alright, I'm just making sure that this actually goes through. Okay, this one shouldn't be too hard. It's going to go through there, going to bounce back, and then it should go up that way. So that's pretty much the story behind Incident on a Bridge. I really like this level. Some people may accuse this level of being another level they got in just because of optimization, and that is certainly true to an extent, but I do love the design of it. I think it's kind of fun. And where do you... Is this the button you use? This one over here? I think this is it. Yep. So I'm going to try to do this using the most safe route possible, pretty much. Which means I'm going to have to get another block. Yeah, the actual bold route involves monster collisions and like with the tanks and stuff, and it's kind of crazy. Okay, I'm going to wait for him to... There we go. Alright, I'm going to actually go back to the southwest room, was it? I think it was the southwest room. And just make sure everything is a little bit more clear there. So right now I don't really have a path for this guy to go on, so that should do though. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, that whole path should work for the glider. Now that what remains is just making sure we actually clone a glider to get out of here, and that can be a little bit of a challenge with collisions, but thankfully I should have gotten those suction boots down there. You know what? I'm going to do that. I've come this far. I'm not going to get killed by a monster up there. I really don't want to risk that. So I'm going to do the level the quote-unquote vanilla way, without doing anything fancy. Alright, I'm just going to carry block down here. There we go. Alright. That should be good. That should be good. So now we should be able to do this, I think. Oh. I definitely did not mean for that to be the case. Alright. Let's see what happens when we just clone them all like that. That should release enough chaos that something will happen here. Hopefully. Come on. Come on, glider, do something. This is not giving me much hope. Okay, there we go. Got a glider. Alright, so the glider's going to come through, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and move that there in case another glider comes through. I don't want it to follow us and haunt us forever, and that was not what I had in mind. I forgot it was actually going to go that way. Why did I not think of that? Okay. Let me move this back. Hopefully another one will come around. Can another one come through? That would be amazing. Time is ticking here, so it would be really cool if another glider could somehow just come through this passage here. And it seems like they're going even crazier now, so I'd like to think that's a good sign. There we go. Alright, so now you go through here. Okay, you guys can just get lost over there. Alright, there you go. Hopefully they will not haunt us through the rest of the level. Oh, right, he goes over this way. Okay, well that works, I think. Maybe not. Uh-oh. That's not good news. Okay, let me figure this out. How am I going to get you over there? I can do this. Okay. So now, it's just a matter of making sure that when he comes up, that I'm ready for him here. Come on, guy. There you go. Okay. Little oversight, but I think we made it. Okay. Good. Alright, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Look at just them going crazy there. That's awesome. Thankfully, the bold route is not nearly this chaotic. But it is an interesting exercise in finding the fastest way for the monster to go through, even if it's not necessarily the fastest way for you to go through. Which is not normally the case for bold routes. Normally it's about how fast Chip can go through, not how fast a monster can go through. But I like the change up here. It's kind of refreshing, actually. Alright, so what I'm going to do... I'm trying to remember how I did this in the bold route. Oh, wait a minute. I'm being silly. I'm going to try a little something else. Okay, come over here. Come to JB. There we go. Alright, so I think what I should do here is... Okay. I'm going to allow them to hit that dirt, and then I'm going to go push a block there. That should be good enough. And I think that's enough fireballs? Yes, it is. So, Incident on a Bridge was made by Tom Rao. This level was made by Tyler Sontag. We have a little guessing game here. That's the only button that works, which is kind of sad. And now we just need to wait for this walker to blow that up. Believe it or not, that's actually not quite as strict for optimization as you might think. And usually those kinds of things are very, they're very much, well, they're luck-based either way, but, you know, they're a lot more rigid as far as how that affects you getting the bolt time than it actually is in this case. Which is refreshing, because it's interesting. There was actually a bolt time of 4:25 previously, and part of the not very fun aspect of that... Oh, whoops. And now I'm stuck. Oh, right. It's another room in which you can skip a red key. I'm being stupid. But yeah, part of the frustration with the previous bolt time was that there was a walker at the very end, and it just so happens that you reach that walker at the very end right when he would be right in your path. So you actually have... hang on. There we go. You would actually have to risk it, or else you would lose a second, which is not very fun. Okay, I'm going to try an alternate path. There we go. And thankfully this little section here, this is actually why that little walker bit there is not quite as demanding with luck, is that you can get equalized with that bit right there, which is always nice. Okay, that's much better. Okay. It is kind of a little annoying that if you do not get all the keys, then you can't really get back in the room, but not really by much, thankfully. And I think I may have just messed this up, except not. Okay. I'm trying not to take any risks I don't need to take here. Alright, there we are. And this is the room in which we can skip a key. Not that other one, this one. I love that door opening sound. I still like the one from MS even more, but that one's kind of fun. And moving on to On the Coast. I think we'll end the video with this one. This is a level I made a while back. It's pretty fun. It's kind of like a variety level with a few little challenges in it. So for this first part, I'm going to get the fireball to hit that. This glider needs to be hitting both of these buttons, which thankfully is not too much of a challenge to do. Ultimately, our goal is to get out there into the water area. So right here we have this teeth. I don't think he's supposed to be there. Did I just make a fatal mistake by getting the teeth in that trap? I think I did. I did not mean to do that. That was... I don't think I've ever done that before. Alright, let's try this again. Hopefully with a little less teeth problems. Okay, where are you? You're over there. Okay, so right now, I'm actually going to direct him up here while I do this. Okay, hopefully he does. Okay, good. He didn't go into the glider area. Okay, no. I don't want you there. I want you to go up here to the button. Optimizing this level in links, by the way, is ridiculous. It actually took me probably 6 hours before I was satisfied with the time I got. I can do that. Oh wait, no, I can't move up because that's a trap. Why am I doing that? That is so dumb. It's getting late. I need to probably stop recording after this video. Good news is, at least I'll be a week ahead of the pace by doing that. And you know what? I'm just going to go and get this because I can. Okay, now let me do this. Hopefully without any problems. Why? I never had that issue before. Why is it doing that? Am I already forgetting how to get the bolt on this? Or at least, like, generally how to do it. I mean, I didn't think it was this bad. Is this, like, step dependent? Is that what the issue is? It must be, because I can't think of any other reason why the teeth would be that uncooperative. Especially since I'm barely doing anything different than I normally do. No! These monsters are not being cooperative. What in the world is going on here? Okay, now I'm going to have to wait for that guy. Alright, first things first, I'm going to do this. Okay, there should be nothing there that keeps that glider from... Okay. Pressing the buttons. I must have just left the glider loose by... And this explains that the traps are connected to the buttons in reverse reading order. I must have either cleared the walls the wrong way or somehow that teeth just got in there in some way that I just don't know about. Alright, so you need to come up this way this time. There we go. And I'm going to put you there. Now for the fun part. We can actually start using our blocks and go to these bombs. Originally, so here's a little story about the making of this level. I originally meant to call this level Camp Chip. Like I wanted, and I may still do this one day. I really wanted to make a level about Chip going to a summer camp or something, and you know there'd be all these little stations that he could things like activities in a camp in, but that never quite materialized, and then it ended up being this level. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. All right, so for this part. There's a couple of ways we can do this. This glider's bouncing around here. You can get the glider to hit both buttons, which was the intended way, or you could actually get the glider that's hitting the trap buttons to a toggle button for you once. The problem with that method, though, well, actually, it's not exactly that risky. Yeah. You can just make it bounce. So I'm just going to have this glider hit the tank button only. And now I need to try to remember how that's done. I think it's done like that. That's probably the safest way to do it. No, 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 no! I did not mean to hit that wall. Why? Why? Okay, can this go up? Can this go up? Okay, here we go. Ah! That just ended up being the worst. If I had not removed that wall, I don't know why I did that. Like, it was an accident. I just pressed that key. It just happened out of nowhere. I don't know why it happened like that. Why? Why must that happen like that? I must have just gone over here in the bold route earlier and then come down like that. That must have been how that worked. Okay, let's try not to be dumb again. We can do this. This level isn't even that difficult. Okay. The T's gonna escape. I mean, we saw him roaming around there earlier, but I don't care. As long as we don't have any problems with that glider like last time, we should be okay. I just hate having to do this all over again. Like, it's a fun level. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to take a dump on this whole level or anything. It's just, when you make a mistake like that, and you're just kicking yourself for it, like I was doing, it's just so frustrating. Alright, before I even go down there, I'm just going to go ahead and preemptively do this, because who knows at this point what's going to happen. As much as I'm not a big fan of like using bold routes to casually optimize levels for consistency's sake, I will admit that it is kind of tempting sometimes on a level where there's a bunch of monster activity and you never know what will happen. Okay, the fireball's going to do it. Come on, hit the tank button. There we go. And again. And there we go. That wasn't so bad, was it? Alright, so we're going to stop recording right here for now. But next time, we will go and reach the halfway point, starting with how to get around in Venice. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video today, be sure to hit the like button, and I will catch you on the flip side. So thank you again. Thank you guys for your support. I really do mean that. It's been fun. Catch you later.